we learning to do this week? Callie?
We're learning to explain how the specific aspects of a text illustrations contribute to what is conveyed by the word in the story.
Good. And why are we learning about how words and pictures are connected?
He represents art.
Addison?
To get a better understanding of the text.
Okay, and why do we want a better understanding of text? What will that create? Cassidy? Comprehension. And what's comprehension? Jason? Understanding what you're reading. Very good. Okay, open up your notebooks to what we did yesterday. Josie, you can unpack it now. Okay, what's your I can sentence from yesterday? Kenzie?
I can explain how the illustrations support the text and help read.
Very good. And what is mood? Addison?
Mood is the overall feeling of the piece or passage.
Very good. Mirror?
Mirror.
Mirror with words.
Mirror with words.
Mood is the overall feeling
Mood is the overall feeling
of the piece or passage.
of the piece or passage.
Good. Teach.
Okay.
Mood is the overall feeling of a piece or passage.
Mood is the overall feeling of the piece or passage.
Mood is the overall feeling of a piece
Class.
Yes.
Hands in, eyes.
Hands and eyes.
Good. We're going to talk more about mood today when we're doing our partner reading and when you're doing small groups. And we're going to continue to talk about tall tales. Okay, what are tall tales? Ben?
It's something that's made up, like a legend.
Okay, and what is it based on? Or what can it be based on? Aiden?
History?
Okay, it might be based on the past. Jason?
It could be based on a person, but they had exaggerated a little bit.
Right, tall tales have exaggeration. Or what's that called? Do you remember that word? Ben?
I don't know.
Hyperbole. Everyone say it?
Hyperbole.
Say it?
Hyperbole.
Say it?
Hyperbole.
Good. In your small groups today, you'll be working on some versatiles about hyperbole. Okay. So we're going to do a close reading today, or a close read of a passage, and we're going to continue this the next couple of days. What is a close read? Juliana?
It's when you read the text for different purposes.
Very good. Do you read it for different purposes at one time? Like one reading? No? Who wants to add more to this? Cassidy?
You read the passage over and over for different purposes.
Good. So today we're going to read it for a couple purposes, and then we're going to continue with the same text tomorrow and the next day for some other purposes. And why do we want to read a text for multiple purposes? Addison?
To get a better understanding of it.
Yeah, of the text, and maybe why the author wrote it in a certain way, like the word choice the author is using. So today's passage, like I said, is a tall tale, and it's just one page long. Okay, class?
Yes.
So on your tall tale close reading self checklist, the first reading tells you what the skill is going to be and how we are going to do it. So it's teacher-led silent reading. And the skill is, who will tell us what the skill is? Kennedy?
Circle new vocabulary and mark confusion.
Okay, so you're going to circle new vocabulary, and some of the papers say mark confusion. So while you're reading this silently, you can use your highlighter or pencil, and like we do every week, you're going to circle any words that confuse you, or you don't know the meaning of, or you don't know how to pronounce. Okay, when you're finished reading, just look up at me so I know you're done, and you can start reading the first read. Everyone's eyes are up. So what words were you unsure of that might have confused you, that you might not understand the meaning of? Cassidy?
Tittle?
Is that in the first paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, can you direct me to the sentence it's in?
It's in the first sentence.
Okay, tidal. Tidal wave. Okay, so that's what happens when the tide changes and a big gush of water comes up into the shore. Okay, it's a tidal wave. You'll see surfers in tidal waves. Okay, what other words? Aiden?
Belowing?
Bellowing. It's when you shout something in a deep, loud voice. A lot of times it's when someone's in pain. Callie?
In paragraph 1, fathoms.
Fathoms. A unit of length that's equal to 6 feet. So it says there, a giant baby 3 fathoms tall or 18 feet. So you can do your multiplication in this sentence knowing that fathoms is 6 feet. And there's 3 of them, so 3 times 6 is 18. So that's how tall that baby was. Can you imagine a baby 18 feet tall?
Awesome.
What other words? Kenzie? A meeting house is a place of worship. Juliana? It's a type of shipping vessel, like a boat. Ari?
Foghorn.
Okay, that's what they use to let sailors know of the fog, so that it's a loud noise. Sometimes you'll hear foghorns at graduations. Okay, some people use them for celebrations too. Okay.
Cape Cod.
Cape Cod is a place in Massachusetts. It's a peninsula. Peninsula is mostly covered by water. Okay, it's not an island. It's not totally covered by water, but maybe 3 sides are covered by water, and it juts out into the Atlantic Ocean. Addison? A minister. Okay, that would be someone who speaks at a place of worship. Okay, that tells people, you know, some things to think about. Cassidy? Longingly. So, where is that? Last paragraph?
Yeah.
Staring longingly. So you might be staring for a while, thinking about something. Then?
Lady of the Sea.
Lady of the Sea. Okay, it's just a name that they would give to a boat or. Okay. Any other words? Okay, so the second reading that we're going to do right now is going to be me reading it to you. Pay close attention to those words that you circled and see if you have a better understanding of the text now. Okay, so make sure you're following along. And if you want to write any notes that might confuse you while I'm reading, or any notes next to the paragraphs that confuse you while I'm reading, go ahead and do that too. From Stormalong by Mary Pope Osborne, American Tall Tales. One day in the early 1800s, a tidal wave crashed down on the shores of Cape Cod in New England. After the wave had washed back out to sea, the villagers heard deep bellowing sounds coming from the beach. When they rushed to find out what was going on, they couldn't believe their eyes. A giant baby, 3 fathoms tall, or 18 feet, was crawling across the sand, crying in a voice as loud as a foghorn. The villagers put the baby in a big wheelbarrow and carried him to town. They took him to the meeting house and fed him barrels and barrels of milk. As 10 people patted the baby on the back, the minister said, "What will we name him?" "How about Alfred Bulltop Stormalong?" a little boy piped up, "and call him Stormy for short." The baby smiled at the boy, then let out a giant burp that nearly blew the roof off the meeting house. "Stormy it is!" everyone cried. By the time Stormy was 12, he was already 6 fathoms tall, or 36 feet. "I guess you're going to have to go out into the world now," his friend said sadly. "Maybe you should go to Boston. It's a lot bigger than Cape Cod." "A sailor's life is the only one for me," he said, staring longingly at Boston Harbor. "The sea's my best friend. It's with her that I belong." And with his back to Boston, Stormy strode toward the biggest Yankee clipper docked in the harbor, the Lady of the Sea. Okay, so you said, what is Lady of the Sea? Have you ever gone to a harbor where they dock boats and you'll see names on the back of a lot of the boats?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the name here, the Lady of the Sea. So you can check off the first read. We've accomplished that. And before we go to the partner read, in your table groups, I want you to discuss the 4 things that illustrations may be used to do. So right now, discuss in your table groups.
To show what he looked like and how tall he was compared
Illustration helps.
to show how tall he was compared to normal people.
Pictures say.
Especially since I just said that.
Shows what the character shows what the character looks like.
To show
Shows how
it might help you picture the
important events
characters and the stories. You can we can't read it, but it has to show.
So are you reviewing the 4 things listed in your reading journal?
So it shows what the characters, it shows what the meeting house looks like.
Okay, I want to discuss the picture yet, but I want you to discuss the reading journal. What are those 4 things? This is to prepare you for the partner read.
Okay, so help you picture the setting. So it could be like on a beach.
4 things.
Show what a character looks like.
Okay, we can look at this. Kennedy, what's one?
Shows
where other stuff in the A picture adds important information to the passage and shows what a character looks like.
Okay, so these are the 4 things that I want you to be looking at when you're doing your partner read. Okay, and there's a paper to guide you with that. Cover all 4 from your reading journals? Okay. Class.
Yes.
Hands and eyes.
Hands and eyes.
Good. The second read, what are we going to be doing? Ari?
Partner read.
Okay, what's the first task that you have to do?
How is the event shown in the picture described in the story?
Continue.
Underline the sentence that tells about this event.
Okay, so with your reading partner, you're going to do that task. You're going to underline the sentence that tells about the event that's shown in that picture. Okay, and what's the second thing that you're going to do? Addison?
Answer the open-ended question.
Right, so I have that open-ended question for you here. Okay, and once I hand it to you, you can get with your reading partner somewhere in the classroom with something hard to write on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so first we need to, how is the event shown in the picture described in the story? So, it's showing that he burped so loudly that he nearly blew off the balloon. So, the baby smiled. Yeah. That's read the passage over again. Okay. No, we're not done with this. Okay, now let's I didn't write my
The villagers will deep belly. They couldn't believe they lost.
Underline the sentence and then answer the question. So, what will you do first?
underline it.
Before you even do that, what will you do?
A giant baby.
Read the question.
3 phantoms crawling across the sand, crying in noise. As loud
This is read number 2. So, partner read. Are you going to read the passage again?
One day in the early 1800s, a tidal wave crashed down on the shores of Cape Cod in New England. After the wave had washed back out to sea, the villagers heard deep bellowing sounds coming from the beach. When they rushed to find out what was going on, they couldn't believe their eyes. A giant baby, 3 fathoms tall or 18 feet, was crawling across the sand, crying in a voice as loud as
and column story for sure. The baby smiled at the boys, then let out a giant bolt that nearly blew the roof off the meeting house. Stormy this, everyone cried. By the time Stormy was 12, he was only 6 phantoms tall, or 46 feet. I guess you're going to have to go out into the world, his friend said sadly. Maybe you should go to Boston. It's a lot bigger than Cape Cod. A sailor's life is only the one for me, he said, staring longingly at Boston Harbor. The sea's my best friend. It's with her that I belong. And with his back to Boston, Stormy strode toward the biggest Yankee football docked in the harbor. The lady of the sea.
Of the sea.
Of the sea.
Open-ended question. Before you do the open-ended, number 1.
How is the event shown in the picture described in the story?
Underline the sentence to tell about the story.
I think it's paragraph 5.
Okay, make sure you use accountable talk.
With the
Baby smiled at the boy and let out a giant bird that nearly
Can you agree with me? I think it's that because the roof's like off and he's walking in the guy's face.
So for this, I think the detail from the text should be the one that we underlined.
I know, I think that's what it's going to ask us. So, let's see. Illustration contribute to what said in the text.
So I think that is going to be
Yeah.
the thing because
Because in this one it says, like what scene does it show in the picture that in the text.
it is.
So I think use one detail from the passage and from the illustration to support your answers. You can use what you underlined in the text.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we should start out with 2 details and all.
2 details. So we need to have one from the passage and one from the illustration.
Okay, so the illustration.
Wait, shouldn't we have a topic sentence?
Yeah, that's the topic sentence there.
How did the illustration
The illustration contributed to what?
So it's adding to the text. Why is it adding to the text?
To what?
What's said in the text?
Yeah, was said in the text because
Yes, I did.
Or 36 feet. I guess you're going to have to go out into the world now. His friend said sadly, maybe you can go to Boston. It's a lot bigger than Cape Cod. A sailor's life is the one for me, he said, staring longingly at Boston Harbor. The sea is my best friend. It's with her that I belong. And with his back to Boston, the stormy strode toward biggest Yankee clipper docked in the harbor, the lady of the sea. Okay, so it shows how tall he is, so we can underline that. Yeah. So why don't we remember that he's tall? So a giant baby, because he's still a baby, he's like 12-year-old man. He doesn't have clothes on. The giant baby, 3 centimeters tall, 18 feet, was crawling across. No, we can just do 18 feet. We don't have to do it. So that's our detail from the text. Now we need it for the illustration. We could put the illustration shows a giant baby sitting in a meeting house. We need to restate that. Yeah, so don't forget to input. The illustration contributes to what is said in the text. Because we show like the illustration contributes to what is said, what was said in the text. Because
It can also contribute to the mood.